We are live or we are on demand. No matter where you're getting it, do what you're supposed to do. Click the like button. Click the share button. My voice is getting silly. We have a lot to talk about. It is Sportskeeda Wrestling's top story of the day. John Cena. You can't see him in WWE right now, but you could be seeing him soon, especially with fans coming back. The C Nation could be on the road again for WWE. Velveteen Dream was released by WWE. He addresses the allegations that were put against him some time ago that many people believe led to his kind of release that people thought was going to happen a long, long time ago. We'll get into all of it on today's top stories of the day. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! I'm Kev Callum. That is Jose G. You can follow him on the Twitter machine at Jose G Official. If you're with us the first time, go ahead and jump into the comments and get your comments on screen while we're live. And if you're watching on demand, don't worry, get in the comments below and we'll jump in there and talk with you as well. Also, make sure those notifications are on so you know exactly when we go live on YouTube or Facebook, because we're giving away some more prizes in the future. I can tell you that. So when you know when we're live, that's when you have the greatest opportunity to win them prizes. Let's get into it. Jose, what is the deal with John Cena here?
Yeah, man. So a lot of news coming out today from PW Insider. It's being reported that Cena's wrapping up the filming of the HBO Max series, The Peacemaker, on July 9th in Vancouver, British Columbia. That's actually, that show is actually going to be serving as a prequel to the Suicide Squad, and Cena does play the Peacemaker in the movie. And it's also set to air in the theaters on August. But this leads to the question, now that it's wrapping up July 9th, 5 days later.
He's got a movie in the can.
He's got a movie in the can.
He's got some things he needs. He's got some things he needs promoted. All right. So what audience would he want to promote these outside endeavors to? It's almost like he's been away from a certain audience for some time and wants that audience to reinvest in him in a certain way. It's almost like a model that we saw 10 years ago with The Rock. All right. When The Rock came back to WWE in a big way.
Funny.
When he came back to it precursed him like relaunching his whole social media campaign, him getting into the Fast and the Furious movies. Like right as that happened, he was back in WWE. He was back in action films. He's back in franchise films. All these people came back to The Rock. He built out his base again and then blew up even bigger. Like how much bigger was Rock like 10 years ago? When movie-wise, I think John Cena is trying to do the same thing, or at least his team behind him. He's not just one guy. Is definitely trying to go that route. I mean, we got a Fast and the Furious movie coming out this summer. John Cena's on network television, and you better believe he's going to be on SmackDown. I mean, that's the way I see things going. Now, obviously, some people would say they need him on Raw, but if I'm behind John Cena, no, we're going with the Network A show. It's big, and the rumor is John Cena back with WWE in the mix when they get back on the road in mid-July. That run that'll include Houston, Texas for SmackDown. That following Sunday for Fort Worth, Texas with Money in the Bank, and then Monday with Raw for Dallas. Maybe he's on both brands. Who knows?
It's exciting. You know what? He's John Cena. He's allowed to be on both brands. He could be on Raw and he can be on SmackDown, then on Raw the following Monday. I don't see why not. But this is perfect timing. It's like, he has been teasing it for a very long time now. He's been very active on social media about his cryptic tweets or his cryptic messages on Instagram by just putting a WWE logo and saying, I miss you. Yeah, we miss you too. And even though Raw can use it more than SmackDown, the eyes are going to be on SmackDown on network TV. And it's a very exciting time, Kevin, because, we've been talking about the return of fans now for the last 2 weeks. It got confirmed last Friday. And now with this news from PW Insider dropping this morning of Cena possibly returning with all the schedules coinciding, all the planets are lining up at the right time, Kevin, because come July 16th, we are back.
I mean, all of the biggest stories we've kind of found out before they happen with WWE have been lining up. Like the return to live events lined up with the time we were talking about. I'm not saying us at Sportskeeda. I'm just saying the wrestling industry in terms of covering things, like they're all kind of dropping in that same direction. This makes sense. Now, does WWE, do they market this beforehand? Do they market a John Cena return beforehand? Or do you wait for the big surprise and let it simmer online and get people talking, and then boom, John Cena's back? Because, I mean, you could go both directions and both could be beneficial in certain ways. Do you think they want to pre-announce this, or wait and boom, we got John Cena back?
Oh, man, I think with the expectation that he might come back and just not even advertise it, just make it a mega show and just wait for the pop. Just wait for the pop. Because if it's going to be a full house, what is it going to be in Dallas? July 16th?
The first night back with a live crowd is going to be June 16th. In
that July, right?
July 16th, excuse me.
In Houston, right? In Houston. Just imagine the pop when you hear Cena's music just drops. It's going to be great, and it'll be great for ratings too. They probably may end up advertising it, but as a fan, I wouldn't want to know if John Cena is going to be there that night.
Well, we have some people that aren't happy about it. Some people seeing those Fast and the Furious movies need to die. There are too many of them. There's Fast 9. Do they need that many?
Hey, Kevin, are you ready to go back to the movies?
That promo was weird, dude. That promo was
the
weird.
Popcorn, the butter, the soda,
popcorn with your family,
the floor with your family. At the movies.
Yes, he will be playing. He will actually be family, and this John Cena will be. He will be Dominic Toretto's brother, his evil brother, Jacob, in this movie.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a fan of the whole franchise, so I am definitely going to watch it.
I'm a bigger fan of the WWE franchise, so let's. Spike Williams has a great question here. Thank you for jumping to the conversation. If you guys have questions as well, get them on here. Also, hit that like button. I see the reactions. I see how many people are watching. Let's match that. Let's get them on level here. Even if you don't want to click the like button, you want to click an angry button. You go ahead and you hit that one too. He wants to know, who will John Cena feud with when he comes back? Who do you plug him in with? That's a big question.
Bro, your tribal chief, my tribal chief, the head of the table.
Everyone's going in that direction. Everyone's going in that direction, right, man?
It's the only way, man. It's the only way, because the last time we had this confrontation, Cena schooled Roman in what was one of the best promos Cena ever did, was about 3 or 4 years ago. Now we got a whole different new version of Roman Reigns. And I want to see movie star Cena versus head of the table, the tribal chief of Roman Reigns. That smells to me like SummerSlam main event right there, Kevin.
And it's a WrestleMania main event, but this year's SummerSlam is a different SummerSlam. Like this year's SummerSlam may as well be WrestleMania
2.0.
2.0. It may as be WrestleMania 37.B. Like it's going to be a bigger show just because it's going to be in front of a live crowd. Money in the Bank, I think, is going to be a much bigger show. And you have him come back. If it lines up, do you have him come back that weekend? Would you have him at Money in the Bank? Would you give him the Money in the Bank briefcase?
I mean, weirder things have happened in the past. Remember that year when Brock Lesnar wasn't even advertising the match and ended up winning the Money in the Bank? That was like 2 years ago. So anything can happen. Anything could happen. What do you think of Thomas Billier's comment here? He's saying he will join Roman tag team against the Usos.
I don't know about that. John Cena coming back is a feel-good story, and he's going to do feel-good things. But at the same time, he's playing a heel on television. I mean, in this movie, I heard some people say it'd be much more interesting if John Cena came back, get the feel-good pop, turn heel. So I think that would be certainly interesting. But if he's doing that, I think if he's heel, he's going to be there a lot more. And I also think they're going to find a way to do John Cena part-time stuff because he's going to have movies. He's going to have a ton of stuff he's going to be doing. Now, as far as we know, how often you're going to get him, it's going to be up in the air. It's going to be up in the air of how often you can get commitments from him now. But it will be sparingly. And I don't know how much in-ring wrestling you will get from a guy when that much filming is tied to him. That was an issue with The Rock before. Can he get far enough between projects where if there's an injury of some kind, they can do around it? Are you going to protect him in tag team matches too? Are they going to do that? Dan Williams saying, he says here, only reason they are bringing him back is because live cards are returning and they need ratings. Well, here's the thing, Dan. Everyone talks about these ratings and different things like that. Ratings, I don't think are nearly as bad as people make them out to be. No, so many people aren't watching. I was like, yeah, but look how much wrestling fans are consuming. You know, like if you want to say wrestling fans aren't as big of an audience there, but they're consuming so much stuff. I mean, you have wrestling content on television nearly 7 days a week. I mean, I'm talking first run wrestling content on at least every weekday, every week. And we're not getting into pay-per-views and different things like that. So I don't, John Cena is just a guy who's going to bring that base and make them go up. Do I think ratings will go up? I think ratings will go up once John Cena coming back. Yeah, of course he's going to help sell tickets and things like that. I don't know do they need him? Probably. I think they would definitely need the kick in the pants, you know? Definitely they need the kick in the pants. It wouldn't hurt at all.
Not at all.
Some other comments here. I want to jump in here. People want him as a GM on NXT. If he showed up in NXT, that'd be a wild one. Wouldn't that be a wild one to do?
I don't even know if Cena would have time to go down to NXT.
No. I mean, if you bring him back, he's doing SmackDown. He's there to move the needle. He's there to move the needle and sell tickets. And we don't know any plans of NXT getting out of the Capitol Wrestling Center. All we know is just Raw, SmackDown, and the main pay-per-views at the moment. We don't know if they're going to do that with John Cena. Rory is always with us so much down in Puerto Rico, saying Cena versus whoever may be the Universal Champion on Raw, but he will be on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. I could see them using him on both. I know I said SmackDown quite a bit, but I think just SmackDown's that first show back, and you want a big splash with it, and it would be a big deal here. Ariel would love to see him take on Bobby Lashley. That'd be a good one too. Yeah, that'd be a really good match right there.
And the WWE
Championship. Let's get to our B story. Velveteen Dream has been released from the WWE. Obviously, he was accused of some not widely unacceptable things. And we don't have to get into what those things are, but they were a part of the Me Too movement. Now, WWE has said they did their own internal investigation saying he didn't break any laws. Other people have said he just basically was just within the framework of the law in the state of Florida in terms of just communications he had with people that you could deem as either harassment or putting him in a statutory situation. So Velveteen Dream no longer with the company. And he addressed these months ago. Now he's addressed them in even further detail after being released from the company. What's the latest?
So today, over the weekend, Patrick Clark, formerly known as the Velveteen Dream, down in NXT, actually put out a very lengthy statement on Instagram stories, pretty much giving his side of the story, his account of what happened, and kind of debunking all the allegations and all the accusations that have been put out about him. And just to kind of, because it is such a long statement, I'm not going to read the entire statement, but just to kind of give you some bullet points. First, he explains the Velveteen Dream character, about who he is, and is just larger than life, very flamboyant, gender fluid, just an absolute diva type of personality based off of Prince. Then he goes into, being grateful for being able to be on TV and interacting with the fans and just having that relationship with the fans. Now he fast forwards to April 20th, and he put out a story that his DMs are open for anybody who wanted to ask questions. He wouldn't be able to get to all of the questions, but that's when he started getting different requests, in particular by two different people. One person named Jacob, a 17-year-old aspiring wrestler who was asking on advice on how to get into the business, and another guy called Josh Fuller. So between and
interesting that he names them. Interesting that he names these people.
Yes. So between all the exchanges, Velveteen Dream, or Patrick Clark, remained in character while he was answering a lot of these DMs. He actually had a voice message for him, and he stayed in character to maintain the kayfabe. Anyways, the conversation went back many, many times. There was an incident in 2018 where Josh had already started working in the industry and actually had a really severe injury, specifically to his brain. and the doctor had suggested him to take some time off. Dream suggested him to follow what the doctor was saying, to do what you're doing. And apparently Josh didn't want to do that. He just wanted to continue working, and Velveteen Dream cut off ties with him, according to that conversation, because he just didn't want to listen to him.
Yeah.
So since that happened, Jacob and Josh started talking to each other privately and started coming up with these malicious. These are Velveteen Dream's accounts, and what his side of the story is that they found him to be malicious on the way that he was being treated because he had cut him off. Then afterwards, they started taking captures of their conversation, altering the photos, apparently putting, inappropriate pictures out on Reddit. And it was just this whole ordeal that made him look out to the bad guy, according to Velveteen Dream's account. So if you guys want to read it, you guys can check it out. We have it on our Sportskeeda Wrestling website. You can check out the full article and read the full transcript of his account of what happened last year during the Speaking Out movement. So again, there's two sides to every story, but no wrongdoing was ever found. So it's interesting to find out what his take on it is. But it was very sad towards the end of his statement where he says the dream is over. So
that's sad. I mean, the whole situation is sad. If the things he's accused of are true, if you believe his side of the story, and this led to him being released from WWE, it's true. It's worth noting there are things he did omit from there that have been reported about other legal issues he's had that are separate from anything like this, that he had some type of physical altercation with someone, and that it was a legal situation at some point in 2020 prior to this stuff. All right. Now, I don't know many details about that, but that was reported some time ago by Fightful. I think that kind of is an understated thing here. And then he had injuries. He had a handful of injuries that affected his run in NXT. James Espanto Fernando. I was a little bit lighter on that one because this is a serious story. James goes, I kind of feel for Velveteen Dream. Hopefully he can turn his life around and do better. And that goes without whether or not he's wrestling or anything like that. Hopefully he's not guilty of these things. It definitely seems weird. There was some debate early on when he was being accused of stuff. And like you said, videos and different things like that were coming out. Like, this kind of looks concocted. This is kind of wonky. And then more things came out that were much more like, that's not good. You don't look good there. So you want to get lost in the weeds on something like this, you can be, but no matter what, I mean, at the end of the day, this guy's no longer with WWE.
He's not, man. He's not. And he's such an incredibly talented guy. And I just hope that, he could build his reputation again. And WWE's known for bringing back people and multiple times. We've seen it happen before. And depends on how he does outside of WWE. If he, can get a reputation. I would say
the unfortunate thing is he's going to have to clear his name. And how about he goes about that now is kind of odd. I mean, we've seen it with some people with the Speaking Out movement, which I think is very progressive and needed for the wrestling business. And there will be more. There will be hell to pay for anyone, I think, that tries to break that type of movement at this point. Not opposed to it whatsoever. That WWE is not going to mess around. They spent a lot of time. I've talked to people that have attempted to work for the company or have worked for the company in the past. In the last 10 years, it seems like every few years they get more progressive about how they vet you. I've talked to people that work in just Stanford, that there is a lot of vetting that is done. And I could go into detail about it, but it's not my place. I'm speaking about other people. There's a lot of vetting done. There's a lot of research of your social media, research of who you are before you come to the company. And, there are mental health exams you have to take. And they're a company that's a publicly traded company. They can't be associated with stuff like that. You saw the response they did to this whole trash bag gate thing, which is an unfortunate situation. I don't think there was harassment. That's just reckless, inconsiderate stuff, right? This is completely different, So it's like, how do you know the type of person you're bringing to the company? And it's a whole different thing. So I don't hold stuff like this against WWE. This is individual people, individual lives, individual choices.
pretty soon it's going to be tougher to get into the WWE than it is to get into the actually, it is tougher to get into the WWE than it is to get into the military.
Hey, it's the top wrestling promotion in the world. Whether or not you like it, who said it's supposed to be easy, right?
Like,
come on. I mean, like everyone's acting like I'm just going to be in a movie because I want to be in a movie. No, it doesn't work that way. I'm going to be in WrestleMania because I want to be in wrestling. No.
Funny story. Years ago, before I got into media, I was like, I want to do voiceover, and I just started like hitting up people. Hey, can I do? And I'm like, would you have a demo reel? And I'm like, no. But I have a really good voice.
Come on, I have these pipes. I have these pipes. Why would you not want to employ?
Is that not good enough? Is that not good enough for you?
Am I not good enough to sell your product? Yeah, exactly. Thank you guys so much for supporting the stream. We do these every weekday, Monday through Friday. And we do have breaking news videos. We have breaking news stuff. When we announced that WWE was coming back, we were on live as quickly as we could with that. If you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just cracked 17,000. Thank you so much. Yeah. 17,000 people. Now, of those 17,000 people, let's get more of them to actually watch the videos too. We dropped a second part of our Jim Ross interview. The video of that is up too. If you want the full video, it is also on our podcast feed. We have a ton of new content we're dropping on our podcast feeds. Let us know in the comments below if you want us to put these up on our podcast feed. If you want the top stories of the day up there as well. We're dropping more and more content on there every week. And a new episode of The Inside Cradle every Thursday is dropping there as well. So tons of content. Also, my interview with Jim Ross, one of my favorites. I've interviewed Jim before, but it's one of my favorite interviews ever done. He told some really intimate, private, personal stories about him and Vince McMahon and their relationship and the time they had working together that are very illuminating, very, very sweet and endearing in a very nice way. So definitely check that out. What do you got going on, Jose?
Well, right now we got the top story. We got the news roundups dropping this week. We got the interview with Chuck Palumbo, hopefully dropping this week. I know I've been saying that since last week.
We got a backlog of stuff, though.
We got a backlog of stuff.
Yeah,
but I got my interview with Chuck Palumbo, hopefully dropping this week. Tons of content daily dropping. So, guys, just make sure you are subscribing and make sure, more importantly, that you are setting your notifications bell to see first on Facebook and on YouTube. So that way, whenever we are live or whenever we drop a brand new video, bing, you get that notification on your cell phone or on your iPad or on your computer. It doesn't matter. You will get that notification.
Mm-hmm. Definitely hit the like button, hammer it, share it. Also, those Facebook groups, those message boards you're in. That's a good place to spread our stuff. Spread the message. Make them feel the need for the Kita. All right. So thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Remember, when watching wrestling, Jose, tell them what they got to do.
You got to enjoy wrestling.
You got. Watch out! Watch out!